Ladies and gentlemen, up until now you've seen the creature perform the simple mechanics of motor activity, but for what you are about to see next, we must enter quietly into the realm of genius. Ladies and gentlemen, mesdames et messieurs, Damen und Herren, from what was once an inarticulate mass of lifeless tissues, may I now present a cultured, sophisticated man about town. Hit it!
The Sketch-O-Matic Show.
Woo! Sketch-O-Matic.
Yeah.
Sketchy.
Here we are, back again.
Yeah!
Thrilling to be with you on the Sketch-O-Matic Show podcast.
Oh my God.
I'm your host, Sketch-O-Matic. That's right. And this would be episode 8. If you're just now discovering the Sketch-O-Matic Show podcast, welcome. It's such a pleasure to have you here. If we've never met in person, I appreciate your company and your business right here with me.
Sketch-O-Matic.
On this week's episode, my special guest is the man of many hats in radio and outside of radio. In fact, he tells us his background in the military.
Wow.
I mean, my special guests so far have been none other than quite fascinating in their possible career paths and different interests before getting into radio and during, multitasking simultaneously. Let's waste no more time. There's so much to cover with my special guest here on episode 8. Let's dive in.
Sketch-O-Matic. Special guest from 104.3 My FM. Raph.
That's right. What the TikTok lady said right there. Special guest Raph joining the Sketch-O-Matic Show podcast.
Hi.
Episode 8. This is episode 8, Raph.
8 already?
Yeah. Can you hear yourself?
I can hear myself. I don't know if am I far? Do I sound far?
Yeah, you sound like you're off in a distance.
Yeah, I'm in the mountains here.
Yeah.
Mount
You're
Wilson,
on another one of your hikes, your
Jeep
bike
trail
rides.
off-road adventure.
Your GPS.
Oh, I like that. Jeep PS.
Yes. All right. So, Raph, here with me, it's such a pleasure to talk to you. I've actually never had a sit down, and what I really want to quickly point out about this podcast and punctuate is the fact that since I started this podcast, I've interviewed a lot of my coworkers, colleagues,
right.
Other players in the iHeartRadio game, and it's been our first sit down. So, this is like my first, like in a way, it's a good way to meet the people I actually work with and get to know them.
But it's funny because nowadays it's like, I feel like I know people more before I even get to see them in person.
Yes.
Because we always throw emails back and forth.
I've edited numerous spots for Raph. And Raph
Thank you, by the way.
To the person listening right now, I don't want to butcher it, but I want to make sure I get your actual position right at My FM, at K-Big. I know you came from Kiss FM prior to that. And then also you're in the military, right?
A little National Guard action.
Oh my God.
Yeah, a lot of little things.
I was going to tell you, Raph, you certainly have, like, when I walked into the Valentine production room and I saw you in there, I knew it was you because of the Eagles hat. I was like, oh there he is. He's right there. And I opened the door and I walked around and I go, damn, Raph looks like he could be a cop.
Oh, no, don't tell me that.
Like, you look like you could be a cop.
Do
You're
I
like
look
a young,
mean?
not mean. You just look like you look like you're structured, like built to be like a National Guard, a cop, or football player. But you have you could probably whoop someone's ass. I think you can.
Man,
I think you can. You're a nice guy, but I can tell you can come from the shoulder.
I'm glad you perceive me that way.
Yes.
Thank you.
I feel safe around you, Raph. I feel safe.
Good.
And I feel like in a good mood because you're a real outgoing guy, and I appreciate your professionalism when it comes to the commercials that we have to endure here at iHeart. Go ahead.
My philosophy with that is like I just want to make sure I do my part and make sure that it's the path of least resistance for all of us. Making sure that we get our work done, but we have fun doing it, so we don't get burnt out.
And you do it right if it's a 30-second spot, he makes sure it's a 30-second spot, or at 29.95. You know what I mean? It's right there. It's not 37 or it's not 20.
We're not going to call out our colleagues here.
I know. But it's not just them. Everybody does it. It's okay. Sometimes a copy's too short. Sometimes it's too long. But you pay attention. You and other people, handful, pay attention. And I like that about your professionalism, what I wanted to point out.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
My lead up to the whole podcast interviews, I want to know, how did you get started in radio? Because you said you were in the National Guard, but how was it? Tell me, let's start at the beginning. What was Raph in as a student like? Where you're from Philadelphia, right?
Actually from New York.
You're from New York,
but
okay.
I lived in Philly for a little bit. But the National Guard thing came after radio, ironically.
Interesting.
So how it started was I was in upstate New York. That's where I started my radio gig, because I actually was in college when I went to do an internship with the station over there in Rochester, New York. So I did a morning show intern, just like everyone else starts an industry. You're like, hey, I'm going to do an internship, see if I can get my foot in the door, kind of thing. So I was doing college radio, getting credit for that, did an internship with the radio station, was doing mornings. I was fetching water. I was doing like the little
I've done
petty
the same
things.
thing,
You know,
bro.
hey,
I know.
grab the morning show breakfast. Okay, I got to go drive in my own car.
Go get the burritos.
Yeah, get the breakfast burritos.
I know.
Exactly. So 6 months goes by. They gave me a part-time gig on the weekends. You know, I was doing like graveyard shifts.
And
I
this
was
is
doing,
upstate New York.
Upstate New
What
York.
station?
98 PXY.
Interesting.
That's,
Is it AM or FM?
FM. Top 40.
Right.
Yeah,
Okay.
top 40. Small market, media market, I should say.
Right.
But I was doing like midnight to 2 a.m. shifts.
Yeah.
And the building was like on a 17th floor kind of thing. So like at night, it gets scary.
At least it was in a building and not like a house. You know, like a lot of these stations are built in like an old house that
Small
they
station.
renovated into like a station.
You know, I always think about those like carpets that have like really like that loud, like you're walking on like a doctor's office carpet, like those kind of studios. Like I'm like, what is this, 1987?
Yeah,
like,
it's very eerie.
Yeah, eerie.
So
studio.
you start in upstate New York, you get an internship, but then you get an overnight gig on air? Or how does that?
On air. I was
on
doing
air. You went from intern to on air
Yeah.
within a snap.
Oh yeah, but my PD at the time was totally like, you know, throwing me under the bus every time. Like, you're doing this wrong, because it was my first go at radio.
How old were you at the time?
I was like 19, 20. Yeah.
I got into radio like for sure the same age. 19 I was like one of the youngest people doing a morning show at Groove Radio back in the day.
That's sick, yeah.
In 97. But back to you. So you get the internship, you go to overnights, and how does that pan out to you getting into LA market? Like, do you just make the leap, or did you have to kind of crawl your way through the country?
It's funny because like I had opportunities that came that were presented itself, and I totally took advantage of them. So, you know, radio, I'm sure you've talked about in other podcast episodes, like, you know, there's, you know, budget cuts and things where people just like get let go. So the night guy at that station was let go, and they're like, we need somebody. Well, at the time I was doing promotions and radio part-time. So they're like, hey, do you want to do nights, but we're not going to pay you more? I'm like, all right, I'm a
took the
promotion.
opportunity, right.
At the time, I was like 2008, the crisis, you know, everyone was budget cuts. I was
remember
like,
that.
the financial crisis. So I was like,
Yeah.
you know, I'm just going to take my opportunities and take, you know, whatever they can give me. So I did nights there, voice tracked, and then, you know, started to become a live show. And
Did you have anything to lose while taking that position? Because you said you weren't getting paid like properly for it, because there was obviously it was 2008 recession. But like, were you working elsewhere? Like, were you trying to support yourself, or did you have the family to fall back on?
I was in college and I was getting a full-time job, so I was like, this is cool because I'm actually getting money, you know, a college student would normally not get. It would totally be a part-time gig. But it was like chump change. It was like really like, it was like 20,000 something. I'm like, this is like full-time for a 20-year-old. I'm like, it's all right.
Yeah.
But
just scraping by.
Yeah, scraping by, taking that opportunity. And, you know, I took those opportunities with the, you know, air checks and things like that. I would send them out to people, be like, hey, listen to this. Is when Twitter was actually like new. So I started following everybody in radio on Twitter.
Yeah, it was a good way to connect.
And then start communicating, like responding to their tweets, liking their tweets.
Right, retweeting their tweets. Right.
And it was like get their attention kind of thing. And it'd be like, hey, in the DMs, like, hey, I got my air check. You want to check it out? Like, you know, being this, you know, very like bright-eyed, bushy-tailed young radio
you were
person.
hungry for it. Yeah.
Exactly. So, you know, one of these days I was actually sending stuff to Philadelphia, and the OM there, or the GM, whatever at the time, called me back, and he's like, or emailed me back. He's like, hey, I got your stuff. This is great. Let's talk. And I'm like, oh, this is 6 years into working in Rochester.
Wow.
And I'm like,
you paid your dues, though.
I know.
You definitely had the humble beginnings, and, you know, you put in your 10,000 hours. I like to talk about this for the people listening, that how it is for different DJs, talent to have gotten into radio, and what, like, for example, Kristen Limon, she wasn't even going to get into radio at all. She was going to go down the path of medicine. And she changed her major. And so, what, you got something? You look like you wanted to add
my major wasn't even radio.
Yeah,
it was mechanical engineering.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's quickly digress and side dive into that whole. So, you as a student, I want to go back into.
Yeah.
Let's just jump ahead and college student. You know, I don't want to go all the way back.
No.
Elementary school. No. So you're in college. You have your major prior to radio.
Yeah.
Which was mechanical engineering.
Mm-hmm.
What exactly? Can you elaborate on that a little bit?
So it was more like I wanted to work work for like companies like Lockheed Martin, Boeing, like actually work and deal with like mechanical things and like how things work and be able to build projects and new ideas through mechanical engineering. Like
and they get paid well for that,
Yeah, they get
right?
paid well. So I'm like, look, taking my classes, my chemistries, my physics.
You got to know a lot of math, right?
And you look at me like, I do know my math. So
I mean, you know more than I do. It seems even the mechanical engineering sounds complicated.
It was. And, radio was kind of like, I fell into it because it was entertaining.
Yeah.
I was getting DJing gigs from it. So like
it was seductive in a way, right? Do you DJ as well on turntables?
I do turntables. Yeah. Like not the scratching. Not
right.
but
you DJ gigs. Obviously, not everybody has to be like AM or Qbert. You know what I mean?
Those guys. Oh man, Qbert.
I mean, right? DMC battles and all that, bro. I mean, I remember coming up on that. That's when I got into DJing. So let's quickly digress into the DJing.
This is like DJ Inception. We're just going down deeper into levels.
We're going level by level with Raph. This is a very hypnotic type of podcast.
I like it.
I want to go dive deep into the realm of the just everything about Raph, because again, I don't really know you other than your professionalism. We've had Instagram conversations where I said, hey man, one day I just reached out, I said, hey, your style on 104 reminds me a lot of Ryan Seacrest. Not saying you sound like him, but your style, the delivery, the tightness. You know what I mean?
I appreciate that.
There's a certain, like, again, professional level that sounds not like identical, but it reminds me of him. And then, but then I also said, I'll probably have to edit this part out. But I was like, but you. Yeah.
Do you want to just bleep that out?
Yeah, I'll add a little static over that.
Yeah, there you go.
Wait, what mystery?
What did you say?
Exactly.
Right.
So getting into DJing, tell me about that.
So it was just kind of one of those things where like, hey, we had hockey games and I was like, hey, you're looking for an in-house DJ. So I was like, all right, let me start doing this. And this was off a laptop with no like turntables.
At least you had a laptop.
I know. Laptops in 2006. I was like, this is so dope.
That was like the beginning of Serato.
Yep, exactly. Yeah. So I was like playing it off like my iTunes, like playing music for like the what do you call it? The overspeed.
You're playing a playlist.
Yes,
right,
exactly.
Right. On the announcement PA system.
Yeah, the PA system. Yeah. So like, then I meet people that are like in sororities and like this girl's like, hey, you want to DJ a sorority party? So like I was DJing the lacrosse and the sorority, the combined parties at their house, and I'm like,
what was your DJ name?
It's funny, I went with DJ Raph.
Yeah, it's perfect. Yeah, it's so perfect. It could be like a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle type mascot as well.
Exactly.
Go ahead.
But no, they just started
in the sorority houses.
Yeah, you're DJing this. I had the baseball team. I had to go DJ the parties. Then the bars in the town started asking me to DJ.
And this is all in Philly.
This is New York.
Still in New York. I'm sorry. I'm tripping. We're not there yet. Okay, so we're in upstate New York.
This is the Old Testament.
Yeah. The Old.
This is the Old Testament.
That's perfect.
But yeah, so I do all this stuff, and I'm like, man, this is so much fun. Like, my major, what am I doing with my major? Should I align this with my career? Because I'm actually getting opportunities in radio.
Yeah.
And I don't want to be like a mechanical engineer degree doing radio.
But at least you had that to fall on. You're like, just in case this does it, which is every parent's dream. You know what I mean? Like, make sure you have something to fall back on and stuff. Were your parents supportive of you going into radio?
They were like, what is it? They knew what radio is, but like, just like, what do? You just talk on the mic and just be an announcer?
So this leads me to the next part of this digression. The question is, none of your family was in radio or entertainment or any kind of industry relating to media at all?
No. So
you're the first.
If you know Joe Coy, the comedian, right? He always talks about how our Filipino moms always want us to be nurses, doctors, lawyers.
Filipino moms predetermine what their kids are supposed to be when they grow up. And I'm not making this shit up. There's a lot of Filipinos in here right now that are nurses. Today is a good day to get injured at a show. Because there will be a nurse in here like, oh my God, put a cold compress on the head. Elevate the pit. Elevate. What the fuck is elevate? Just lift. Lift the fucking pit. Are you stupid?
So you're Filipino. I actually didn't know that.
Yes.
I wasn't sure. I'm Mexican. I was born in Mexico City. But I mean, obviously I can tell we're from ethnic backgrounds. Yeah. I just wasn't sure. I don't sound Mexican when I talk, Do
I sound Filipino?
No, not at all. That's the thing. You sound like Ryan Seacrest. But I mean, like, it's not saying that can't be attained if you have to be white to sound like that. I mean, to me, it doesn't really matter about race and ethnicity. It just amazes me that when I meet someone else of ethnic background,
right,
and how well they articulate You know what I mean? Like your parents now. Does your parents?
They speak English.
They speak English, but are they? Is it like of the Tagalog, like broken English?
It's they've learned a lot here because they were here. They moved. They immigrated here.
I have a lot of Filipino friends that are DJs and in the entertainment, but none on radio like yourself at that level of like, holy shit, this guy sounds like he's totally on like American Idol hosting.
It's so funny because like, when you're talking about what people look like, it's like people don't know that I'm Filipino till I tell them. They're like, oh, you don't sound like someone that'd be Filipino on the radio. Like,
I mean, and it's hard. It's kind of rough to say that.
Yeah,
but even Joe Coy, you can detect he's Filipino. With you, it's almost damn near impossible to pinpoint what this guy.
I don't know if it's a good or bad thing because I love my heritage. You know what I mean?
Who else too? Speaking of just the whole heritage and backgrounds, I just had EJ on. This will be coming on after EJ, who's on episode 7. I never knew EJ was black either. I didn't know he was a black gentleman. When I heard his voice the first time, for years, I didn't care. I didn't Google, didn't care. But I came to work here in 2019, and Tony Sanchez we're loading spots. Yeah. And I was like, man, that guy sounds so fucking cool. Like that guy, EJ, he just sounds like hip, like LA hip. You know, it was hard to pinpoint. And he's like, oh, yeah, you haven't seen, he was like, he's black. And I'm like, get the fuck out. What? I was like, really? That's awesome. And I was like, I have to meet him now. Like, I have to see who this guy is because it's just, I'm a big fan of voiceovers and a big fan of how people deliver that voice, whether it's more of like if it's just a soft-spoken voice, like some of the AEs here are more relaxed. Some of them are high-strung, but their voices always give me like I'm very amused by people's voices. You analyze. You're deeper into it,
and
I like doing impressions. Person. Yeah. I like doing accents. Can you do accents?
What I mean, like Filipino accents?
No, not just that. Like other like British accents or Australian. Can you do any accents?
I try, but I'm not like New Yorker. Like Philly, like water ice. Like,
you have no New York like OVE, like no water. Take a walk.
It's
coffee.
funny because my friend here, he's lived in LA now for 11 years. He's from New York, and he's like, I could hear a little bit of your New York, like your A's. And like, trying to like stretch out the vowels a little bit because upstate New York's a little different from New York City.
It is, right.
So like
now, why is that? With the different islands, it seems like certain dialects are more pungent in one area. But then I've been to Manhattan 3 times in my life, right? And every time I go there, you meet people that talk like you and me, that they almost sound like they're from LA. Yeah. But then right next to them, hey, what do you want over here?
Yeah,
like,
what
is that? I don't get like how some people have the major East Coast dialect over here, and then the other people are like, hello, how are you? Like
this is why you're good at your voiceover stuff, dude. That's amazing. That was really good. But I just think it's how they're raised because if you keep them in a bubble, like you can keep people in bubbles, and they won't know what their next door neighbor does or who they are if they keep them in a good bubble.
You seem like you're a man of the people. You know what I mean? Like you've been exposed to a lot of different upbringings and stuff. So it's made you multicultural.
Yeah, living in New York City for 8 years, like I've been in New York and upstate New York. It's like, you meet a lot of people. You meet a lot of different backgrounds, and you definitely, you've come to accept it too. Like you're more accepting of it. Some people, it's hard to.
I love it.
Yeah,
I love it. I'm amazed by just the progression of how like 30 years ago wasn't like it is now.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm almost 45 years old. I've been in radio since I was 18. And I think you and I share this, I know I'm older than you, but I know that you and I share the same kind of like getting into radio, the internship, having supportive parents, but they weren't quite. My mom was a singer. My dad was a recording engineer.
Oh, okay.
But they never worked in radio. And when I got into radio, I wanted to be a magician at first. I wanted to be a pilot.
Awesome.
I wanted to be a firefighter. But then I met Big Boy when I was 12 years old. And he wasn't even on Power yet. He wasn't in radio. He was just like one of the people.
You go before you were Big Boy's friend before radio.
Exactly.
Wow.
But when he got into radio, that was my inspiration to follow suit.
I didn't know that.
Yes.
Okay.
And I want to ask you, what did you have any particular DJ that you heard on the radio that you were like, man, I want to be like that person?
On the East Coast, you had all the guys there. You had the Elvis Durans of the world, and you had Hollywood Hamilton.
Yeah, I remember
Hollywood Hamilton was cool. I love listening to him. Like I was the geek that would before I even got into radio, I would go to the boombox and like actually record my music and pause right before the jock talks. I'm like, I want my mixtape. I don't want you talking to my over my music.
You set up your cue cue points.
Yes, and you're like just press record, play record.
That's genius, though.
Yeah, but Hollywood Hamilton, my local guys there in radio up in Rochester, New York. But it was definitely a lot of Z100 guys.
What about what's his name?
Morning Zoo.
Kid
Kelly.
Yeah, Kid Kelly. Stern always talks about that guy.
So when the internet age came about and when you can actually search YouTube videos, like I would watch like Kid Kelly air checks.
It's Kid Kelly with at least 10 songs in a row, commercial free, back to back. Next. First, I need you to hit me with the radio station you're hearing right now.
C100.
Who it is?
This is Debbie Surplus. I win.
Where you from?
Deer Park, Long Island.
100th call, you win.
Oh my God!
Slap me upside the head with the radio station that plays New York's best music.
C100.
I would watch Hollywood Hamilton.
What's your name?
My name is Ashley.
Hey, Ashley, what do you want to hear?
Anything from Taylor Swift.
You got it. What's up, Livingston?
Elvis, obviously.
Elvis Duran.
To New York's best new music first. It's Rhythm Syndicate. Hey, Donna on Z100.
Those guys in the East Coast.
I'll have to insert a couple of those clips from YouTube. I like doing that on the podcast. Where like if you give an example, I'll like pull a quick clip from YouTube.
Do you want me to slow down? Or
No. You can keep going because I'll, me. I
know you can chop it up.
Yeah, I'll go Sketchword Scissorhands.
Sketchword Scissorhands. That's awesome.
But okay, so all these people, so you're recording stuff onto the one cassette tape, right?
Yep.
And you're setting up cue points to bypass. Did you ever record their breaks so you can kind of mimic them? Did you ever impersonate some of the jocks?
So I would try to do that, and like you do in the car now these days. Like, well, I don't know if you do. I do. Like, I would still like talk up a song.
Oh,
like, I would
totally.
Just out in radio terms
to see if you don't mess up.
Yeah,
right.
It's just like talking like you were on the radio,
and then hitting the post.
Yes, hitting the post.
Can you quickly elaborate what hitting the post is?
The post is when is right before or right when the vocals start at the beginning of the song.
Yes.
And that's where you try to stop talking.
You stop talking, so it literally just almost overlap, just barely, or it lands on beat. It has to land on the one.
Oh yeah,
it's my FM. What is it? 104.3 my FM, and then you stop. You open and close with that every time, or do you sometimes not end with it?
I try not to be too formulaic because these days it's more conversationalist. This is more technical stuff in radio these days. We used to be like very like 104.3 my FM. Talk about what you want to talk about, and then say 104.3 my FM. Nowadays it's more as long as you say at some point you talk about what you want to talk about and be relevant to the audience. So I know people talk about stomping the post or that means when you talk over the vocals. You don't want to do that. But back in the day, they used to like sing, like not sing, but be sing-songy when you're talking. It's 104.3 my FM. Like when it's like it's tricky.
Yeah, they go to like a beat and they switch it up also like a parody. Raph is sketch in the morning. 104. That's fun. You know what I mean? But
that's fun radio. Right
yeah, I can make an imaging sweeper out of that, by the way. So let me not quickly. I always say quickly too much. I'm going to edit that part out. Sure. That's one of my crutches. That's another good thing.
Let's talk
crutches.
About that.
Let's talk about crutches. Everybody has a crutch, and I feel like some crutches are somewhat signatures to people now. For example, Howard Stern says, in other words,
you didn't have sex for 6 months. In other words, they threw you out of BYU. What is with the 6 months of no sex? In other words, they can't check you.
Do you have anything that maybe we may not know is a crutch, but like mine is quickly. I always say quickly or basically. That's a Mexican
But
thing.
if I start, quickly, basically. Right? If I tell you what they are, you're going to listen to my show now and be like,
bleep it.
He's doing it again. He's doing it again.
It.
No, it's all good. No, it's things like, like a right. I say like, hey, it's 104.3 my FM. Beautiful day, right? You're going to be on the 405, right?
But it sounds so good, though.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's so good when you hear it in context.
It kind of flows, right? It connects your words and stutters.
Absolutely.
Because I don't want to be like saying is very like, I don't know. It's just one of those speech things where you just try to avoid it.
It is. You want to be professional and avoid the ums. And then I also try to, instead of saying basically, I replace it with essentially.
Yes.
Just sounds a little more smarter.
That's scholarly of you.
Yeah, well, thank you. Thank you. I never went to college, and you did. Okay, so let's go back now again. Aside from the crutches, I mean, it's always exciting to talk about those little intricacies.
Right? Yes.
But I am more interested in how did you learn the formula you have now? Like, it seems like it was so natural to come to you. It feels like you got on the air like me, and I kind of, from observation of other DJs, kind of going, I'll do that, I won't do that, I'll take a little bit. Like, there was a guy named David Morales who used to be on Power 106 back in the day. This guy was the DJ's DJ. to me, this is like the early 90s, mid 90s. And he would just open even when computers started, they went from carts and CDs to computer, right? Scott System and such, and Profit. And sometimes the computers would freeze. And he would get out of it by going, oh my God, the computer's possessed. And he'd like grab an exorcist cart and you'd play, and he'd be like, I don't know what's happening. I'm just going to sit here and pray to God. And you could tell he's panicking.
Yeah.
Like, cause he's on the air live, but and then the engineers come in, they're just like, they, toggle with the buttons a little, and then it goes back to normal. But the way he just on the fly comes up with stuff in the moment, have you had those moments? And it goes into the other question: is worst radio blunders you've had in your experience?
Oh, I mean, I've mashed buttons before, like where like I'd press two buttons at the same time, and it'd be like a sweeper and a song, and I'd be like, I wanted the song to play, and not that sweeper where it's like, Elvis Duran in the morning,
or you're playing a sweeper over the commercial.
Yeah, right. I've done that before. I did it actually on Kiss one time, and I got a phone call after that by my boss. So.
Oh, by Ivy?
Yeah.
Oh man, that's the worst feeling, right? When that hotline goes off or the warm line, you're like,
well, what are you doing?
Well, it sounds like shoes in the dryer, Raph. What's happening over there?
But a lot of the little blunders would be like the phone calls. Like if you're going to air a phone call and you take out like the board out of program where it would go on the air. So like a phone call would be like, hey, it's 102.7 Kiss FM, hello, and then you play the phone call, but it's not going over the air. It's playing.
Oh, but you're the only one going over the air.
Yeah.
Oh my! So it's like mix minus.
Yeah, you're like, it's mix minus. You're like, hello. So you just kind of like pick up from it. You're like, is anyone there? Oh my gosh, I think they hung up on me. Hello.
And then you play the dial tone.
You're fixing it, or you're fixing it while you're trying to buy for time.
Those are like, that's the worst thing. Have you ever had an F-bomb go out over the air?
No, because I don't try to do like interviews live or phone calls live.
Right. What about just playing a dirty version of a song by accident?
Oh, I mean, that like I remember one time, I think in Philly, I was playing a song off the PC, and you're like, never do that, never play a song off Adobe, and it was like one of those like new songs, and I didn't think it was the radio edit. I'm like, this is clean,
right?
So you're playing it on Adobe. I forgot what song it was, but then you hear like the the F or the it's like very faint. It's one of those like you don't hear it.
It's under the breath.
It's under the breath kind of thing. So like I'm like, oh crap,
dump
and I'm
out.
Just press that dump button on my side, and then like wait for that thing to catch up. So.
Yeah, and that's like on air live editing.
Yeah, luckily, I'm on nights in Philly, so it was fine.
Now the formula question, like getting to where you're at now, because it is very tight, it's very seamless. You were at Kiss FM before you went to the National Guard, but before all that, being at upstate New York, then going to Philly, it seems like, again, like going back to, it seems like you're just a natural at it. Like you just, the first time you got on the mic, were you really nervous? Were you audibly nervous? Where your mouth is dry, all that stuff?
I mean, the first time on the mic, of course, in Rochester, I was like nervous as hell. I was like, what the hell am I doing? I'm like on the radio at midnight on a Saturday, but I feel like 1,000 people are listening to me, even though it's like,
It might have been, though. I mean, your parents were probably listening, right?
They were listening.
And what did they say?
In their kitchen, like, you're doing good, boy. Like, in their Filipino, like, you're doing good, boy. Call your mom and dad.
I love that.
I put them on the radio before, too.
That's
like my parents,
so
oh my
good.
God. It's the best.
They're still on the East Coast?
Yeah, they're still on the East Coast, but, we got iHeartMedia.
Yeah, of course. They're right there on the app. No
they're
problem.
They're listening all the time.
I mean, I love the Filipino family support system.
So close,
It's so tight-knit. And it's, in a lot of ways, it's very close to Latino type of culture as well. They're very similar.
Like Joe Coy says, we are the Mexicans of Asia.
Yes.
We don't have Asian names. We have Latino last names. Look at our fucking last names. In my family alone, De La Fuente, Santos, Gonzalez. We're fucking Mexicans. We are the Mexicans of Asia.
No, okay. Your venture from Philly to Kiss FM, how did that transpire? Again, you're putting out your air checks on obviously on Twitter to get to Philly.
Yeah.
Right? Is that the same tactic you used to get out of Philly?
Totally opposite now. So they were actually searching for someone. So
this is a Sketch-O-Matic podcast.
Yeah, exclusive. 5 years in Philly. Okay, so I'm doing my thing nights there and assistant program director. And my PD was like, hey, so how do you like Philly, or how are you liking it? Because we're like talking about my contract, and I'm like, dude, this is my third contract. I love it. I might buy a house here. I think I'm gonna settle.
Nice.
And he's like, well, you might want to hold off on that because John Ivy wants to talk to you. I'm like, what? Like the John Ivy, like in Kiss FM, John Ivy? And he's like, yes. So he had me have a conversation with John, and we did a phone thing. He's like, hey, I want you to come out here. We'll do a demo, or what do you call audition shifts.
Right.
And you'll come out during Wango Tango. I'm like, okay, cool. I've never thought about going to LA. Like,
and you've never been to LA?
Never been to LA. I've been there once in San Diego, so not LA. Yeah.
Right. But you had no interest in relocating to the West Coast. You weren't like, hey, I need to be on Kiss.
Bro, let me be honest with you. I'm an East Coast through and through, bro.
You are. You're an Eagles fan to the bone. I follow you on Instagram, and I'm like, man, this guy is no joke. Like,
sorry,
you're very
Rams Chargers fans.
It's all good.
Yeah.
Hey, man, we didn't have football teams for so long. You know, I mean, I'm still getting used to the fact we have football teams. I'm more of a hockey basketball fan.
LA Kings guy?
I am an LA Kings guy,
right,
big
cool.
time. And I was a fan way before they got the Stanley Cups. Like, I was there at the games. I went to a game at the Forum before Staples Center was built.
About that.
That's how old I am. And then, you know, obviously Staples Center and now crypto. But all along, when they got the first one, and it was at 2012, and then the second one in 2014, I was watching it on TV and and then everybody's congratulating me for the win. Like, I'm on the
like
team.
You won the
I'm
Stanley Cup. Yeah.
You know, like, do you get that when do you get people congratulating you when the team does?
So I was actually in Philly when they won the Super Bowl. So I was like a part of the station, you know, going Facebook Live, Instagram Live. I was like posting. I was like tearing up.
This is when you're on Kiss? Or
no,
wait,
in Philly.
In
on
Philly.
Q102.
Okay. Yeah.
I was there, Q102, 2017 Eagles won the Super Bowl. And like, it was just one of those things where like, I was posting left and right about it. So people were like, congrats to you.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I feel happy for you. And I'm like,
how do you reply?
I won the Super Bowl.
Thanks.
Thank you for me doing nothing but watching them and giving my money to go to the games.
Yeah, I mean, that is so genius. So you get to Ivy, you have the phone conversation. The phone conversation goes well, I assume.
Yep. He's like,
he flies you out.
Yep.
Right.
We're here in June of 19. I'm going to Wango Tango.
Did they fly you first class?
No.
Okay. I'll edit that part out. I'm just curious.
No. They just regular flight out here. They put me up in a hotel. They're like, all right, so come out to Wango Tango, and then we'll do an audition shift on Kiss, like, 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. I'm like, this is so cool. I'm like, oh wow. I never thought. I thought Philly was a major market already, which it is, and I thought that was my like, oh my god, this is my a cresting moment, like my top of my career. Yeah. And I'm like, Kiss FM. I'm like, this is actually going to be even better.
And how old are you when this happens?
26, 27.
I mean, you're a baby still.
Yeah.
In essence, you're a young adult,
like late 20s. Yeah.
And you obviously radio is now your calling. You're in LA. You've never been really to You've never been to LA.
No.
And now you're about to be on the air in LA.
Yeah.
Were you a little nervous? Not saying nervous to be on the air because you've already been doing radio. But more so saying like you're nervous to be in a new city and be on the air in like the flagship station, pretty much of the company, other than New York. But I'd say LA's even bigger deal.
I would say, worldwide, globally.
Globally. But like, essentially my question is this: because you'd never been here and you didn't know the city, right? Did you feel somewhat of like I'm posing? You know what I mean? Like almost like what Big Boy would refer to as an imposter syndrome.
Right,
Did you feel that at all?
I definitely felt that because I feel like they're going to embrace me. Like Los Angeles, there are people that take pride in their city growing up here, born and raised. You know it. You probably feel it. Yeah. You have friends that have been here their entire lives. And it's like, for me to come in here and be like, I want to own, like not to own the city, but like, to take ownership of the city.
Right.
And
do your part in
it.
Right?
Yeah, embrace it. Is to be like, hey, like, will they accept me? It's like very like, I don't know if I should even try to fit in because it's their city. Like, it's not my city. It's
but we
city.
got a lot of Filipinos out here too.
I know,
and that's
the thing. Good thing too. It's like I can go home knowing like I can go get food, like mom's food right here down the street.
Cool though, man, that you came out here. I just find that I'm sure you found it surreal to be in this, sitting at the hotel waiting to go on your first shift. How did the first shift go once you went on?
The audition or the first shift?
The audition, and then we'll get to the first shift.
Yeah, the audition was great. I mean, I prepped myself. I made sure I had everything I needed to talk about. I brought some of my notes and things.
Yeah, like what did they consist of? Just give me an example.
Just like what's going on like in LA that weekend.
Yeah, like did you name any streets or any cities?
I didn't try to go that far. Like I try to get the major parts. Like maybe like talk about LAX
or maybe like 405 traffic, which is always out of control.
I try to do the 405 thing, but I didn't want to be like what's up Arcadia, what's up La Habra. Like
I tried your tacos out there, King Taco. Like shut the fuck.
I drove out there 2.5 hours just to try a taco truck in the corner. Like there's 10,000 taco trucks in LA. Like
maybe at that time there wasn't though. Remember the taco truck thing wasn't totally popping off like
full,
it is. Yeah, but that is a very good part though to bring in taco trucks.
Not to discount the 10,000 trucks. They're all delicious.
They are.
You just go anywhere and
you just got to find them.
Yes, exactly.
Now there's apps for that. But so you did your audition and obviously Ivy loved it, right? You go back to Philly.
Yep.
And how long between the wait to hear from him, or does he hand you a contract right on the spot?
No, it was about a couple of weeks. He's like, "Hey, I'll get back to you. You know, we'll chat." I'm like, "Oh, okay. So this is I don't know."
I like your Ivy impression.
Oh, sorry. Everyone. By the way, everyone at our work has.
I don't have one. I've never really heard him talk. Actually, he's only emailed me. Here's my impression of John Ivy emailing me when he was still, doing his tenure, or not tenure. He was still in charge. And right before he retired, I had to email him, and it was Beata on there too, right?
Yeah, Beata.
And then she not his assistant, but she was APD. Right?
Yep.
So, but one of his assistants was on there too. I think it was Brittany at the time. Right? Remember Brittany? Little Latina
yeah. There exists. Yep, assistant. Yep.
This is before COVID. And I remember I emailed, and somebody was trying to get a spot on that didn't fit the KISS format. And I had to tell them, like, hey, man, this is going to be really way off if we run this.
Oh,
and
wow.
Ivy replies, and he's all, I'm sorry, who are you again?
It'd be more like, I'm sorry, who are you again?
Yeah, exactly. And I'm all, I'm Sketch. I work with Tony Sanchez. And he replied, oh, that's right. What is it again?
Oh, man. That's
classic.
So just to respond and be like, who are you?
Yeah, and it was a reply all, meaning everyone was on it.
Saw it.
Yeah, and I was like, oh, man, it's okay because it gave me a chance to reintroduce myself. And then Beata wrote back. She was like, Sketch, just go ahead and send us the spot produced and we'll figure it out. But she knew who I was. Luckily, she was like, oh, let me throw this guy a lifeline.
Oh, my God, that is funny.
It was so good. So back to you. Ivy, now 2 or 3 weeks go by. He calls you back.
Yeah, calls me back.
Walk me through it.
Yeah, he's just like, hey, so, like we heard, and, I'm doing my Ivy thing. I don't know. I just fall into it.
Keep going.
So, like, hey, we're going to send you a contract here. Just look over it, see what you like, and then, we'll go from there and tell me if it's all good, and you can sign it and send it over back. Send it back over. So
did you have to go over it with a lawyer or an agent?
I mean,
or
I go through it with, I have, like, friends that are lawyers, and I just kind of, like, breeze through it. Like, I don't have an agent.
Right, me neither. Never had. I've never signed a contract ever in my life for imaging or any production. It's wild to me when people sign when they get contracts. I'm like, I wouldn't know what to do with it. I wouldn't even know how to read it. It'd be like alien to me.
Yeah, let me tell you, my first contract when I was back in Rochester, I was like, oh, this is so cool. I'm like, I feel like an athlete, just like signing it. It's like minimum wage.
That brings me to I'm glad you brought that up. It brings me to an interesting question that I've asked other talent. Mm-hmm. If you hadn't gone down the mechanical engineering road and you didn't get into radio, what do you think the Raph career path would have been? I think you probably would have been a good cop, other than National Guard. Let's say you never went to any of those.
Yeah.
There was no engineering, no radio, no National Guard. I think you'd be a good athlete of some sort.
Oh, God, thank you.
Think but I think you'd be. And I don't want to go the stereotyping of like, being in the medicine Filipino
doctor,
thing, all that.
Nurse,
I think you'd be more. I think you really look like a fucking cop, dude.
I don't know. That's a great thing. Maybe it's the mustache.
It's the build. It's just that build you have.
Thank you. It's stature.
Yeah. You look like you're. You know how like there's those cops that are like they're fucking yoked. Right? They're big. They're young.
Bro, this is just fat, bro.
Well, I don't know. Look at me. I'm like a thin as a wafer over here. I mean, it's terrible. I'm like a pitcher of water.
Yeah.
But when I see cops that are, like you, but they're really nice, but like they're just gunning. Like you could tell they're just like, you know what I mean? You don't want to set them off.
Exactly.
But they're nice as hell. Like you're just like,
I totally get that. Yeah, thank you.
That's the kind of vibe I can see you in an alternate universe.
Man, if we had multiverses, that'd be so cool. But it's funny because you said this earlier about yourself. Like I actually thought about going to an aeronautical university to become a pilot. I wanted to be a pilot. That's one of my childhood dreams.
Right?
To
I like
fly.
Pushing buttons. That's why I think I got into radio.
That's right.
Buttons, but it's not death. It's like there's no life or death. Like
You're not
the
going
station's going to crash.
Yeah.
Nobody's going to die if we have dead air.
Exactly.
Even the term dead air is an oxymoron because it's like nobody's dead.
No,
it's just static.
Oh my God. But yeah, like being a pilot is one of my dreams. I actually thought about during my choices trying to get into college and stuff. I was thinking about being a PA. Physician's assistant.
Interesting. What is that exactly?
It's pretty much being the doctor without the doctor medical practice.
Right.
So you don't get sued. It's
that's kind of like a nice.
Like you don't have a license. Yeah.
But you're in the mix.
Yeah, you're in the mix. Yeah,
and it gets paid well.
They get paid well.
But it also sounds like it's a lot of schooling and it kind of be boring.
Yes,
a little bit.
Yeah.
But there's definitely that anchor of like you can be that for the rest of your life.
Right. You're set for life. It's just like obviously, is that what you want to do? Is that what's going to make you happy?
Yeah.
And I'm like, This radio stuff makes me happy. Like,
I mean, you're good at it, man.
Hanging with people and be interacting with all these listeners. It's so great. It's great. I just love it. You know, it's a fun gig. And,
you're leading me into all the right segues, my friend. I mean, you have radio built into your DNA.
And I've never done a morning show. That's
okay. Now, is there something? Let's jump into that. Do you think you could? I could see you doing a morning show. Would you be interested in ever possibly? Not saying now, but let's say 5-6 years down the line, you're still in radio, and they say, "Hey, Raph, would you want to do mornings?" If down the line, even Kiss.
Yeah.
I mean, why not? Would you ever consider doing that?
You know, it's funny because I was talking about this before I left to go to the National Guard. I want to do more programming stuff, like actual, like
you want to be the Ivy,
the architect. Yes, the Ivy. Yeah, I want to be the architect of the station. I love this whole, like, you know, we do like these custom intros and planning and programming, like what we're going to put in between the songs, like the promotions and what we're doing here. Like, that's the fun part for me, because I feel like you have a finished product when you present it on the air. Like, you could do that with radio, like when you're an announcer, you can present it and you know, have that finished product. But then it's like, also, you know, I want to have something tangible and be like, this is what's happening with this station. Like, you can see my FM's doing this, XYZ, the ratings are here to prove it. Like, I don't know. Like,
I hear you, the architect. I like
I'm more of the building, like the brand.
I think that also falls with your mechanical engineering background. I think there's a little bit of that.
It's still there.
It's still there, and you're applying it to the architect of the radio station, of the programming, the custom intros. I like how you said that, because I love doing custom intro stuff for Big.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? You know, you re-edit a song that has Big's name in it,
personality,
you know, and then it goes into the regular song. People hear it, the regular listener, and they're like, "Oh man!" Like, it's almost like mysterious. How did they do that? You know,
you love the creative too, and that's fun. Like, I love the creative as well. It's just, I also want to be part of that, like, success of the foundation, and the structure of the station.
Did you ever do production and imaging at all in
Philly?
In Philly,
5 years of being APD there, we actually did our own imaging. So I'm a little of a production.
Did you have like an announcer voice other than your radio Raph voice?
I didn't do voiceover, so we have a voice guy.
Right.
I did a lot of the sounds and the whooshes and
the transitions.
Yes,
of
exactly.
And what was the station called? I'm going to do my
Q102.
Q102 Philadelphia.
Yep, exactly.
And then the morning show name, blah blah blah.
Yeah, Elvis Duran in the morning.
Elvis Duran. He's still on the radio.
He's still
crushing it,
dude. He's gonna go till he's like 102.
I mean, it's brilliant. And they're gonna what is it called? Transcendence his personality and download it onto a thing.
Oh, I know. He's gonna be one of those, like, things from The Simpsons.
He'll be like the first, I think.
Head in the water, like, you know, like kind of like that sci-fi stuff.
I like that. Okay, so now you're at Kiss. You've left Philly. We're back. We're not back, but we're fast forwarding to you at Kiss. You've already passed your audition. You've signed the contract.
Yeah.
You've flown out of Philly. You've relocated to Los Angeles. Where did you live at?
First place was North Hills. North Hills, right there in the valley. There's something about the valley. I just love it. I don't know. People are like, "Why are you living in the valley?" I'm like, "This."
Yeah. Well, the valley is. I don't know. It's kind of comforting. And then like the west. I grew up on the west side. I went to Culver City High. I lived in Santa Monica. I lived in West LA. In the 90s, it was cool. But nowadays, it's out of control metropolis. Like, it's out of control. There's construction on every street, every corner. There's a bike lane.
They're their own cities now. I mean, Santa Monica is huge. You got, like, you know, West LA.
It's huge. Too much to me. And I feel like the Valley, Burbank in particular, is like a year or two behind the rest of LA. Meaning, like, it's just calmer, it seems like. And the whole LA, all Burbank shuts down at 10 p.m.
It's nice, quiet.
It's quiet.
You can go for a walk outside.
Do you live in Burbank now?
No, I'm actually, so it was North Hollywood. So
I live
right
in North
outside
Hollywood.
there. Yeah. And it's fine too. It just for me, like, I like to have like a garage and like be able to do stuff with my Jeep and my off-roading. So,
I know,
like,
you're such a man. Yeah, you are.
Try to be a man.
No, you're such a man's man.
I pedicures.
Hey, you know, everybody, it's good to take care of your feet, though.
Yeah,
man.
exactly.
You got to take care. A man's got to take care of his feet and put lotion on his feet.
Exactly.
You got
to keep it from being dry.
Exactly.
But the valley was like great because, like, my family is in Porter Ranch. I have family in Porter Ranch. I have family in Santa Clarita. So it's like easy to access and see them.
And everything's 20 minutes from each each other.
You
in
know,
LA.
they got a Jollibee up there in Panorama City. I Filipino chicken is the best.
Man, it's making me hungry right now.
I know. It's
I
the perfect
see you
time
on
to
your
talk about
weekend
this.
getaways. You seem to travel quite a bit. When I follow you on Instagram, the weekend comes, you're on a plane and you're flying somewhere to go to some show. What's that like? You're literally traveling more than the president.
It's but it's more like baller on a budget. Like I use mileage. I use I go on cheap flights, and a lot of it now is more for like baseball stadiums. One of my goals is bucket list is to go see every major league ballpark. So right now I'm at like 15. I'm halfway through.
Whoa!
And I actually just went to Angel Stadium for the first time this year.
Yeah.
To see Shohei Ohtani.
It's nice down there,
Dude,
huh?
it's
Over
nice.
there.
Yeah, it's nice over there. But like obviously I've been to Dodger Stadium quite a few times, and I love Dodger Stadium. But it's so
Are you
cool
a Dodgers
to see.
fan at all?
I mean, like I have.
Considering you're now
affinity.
LA.
I have an affinity for them, but I grew up as a Yankee fan, and then I was a Phillies fan in Philadelphia. So like I love the sport of baseball because I grew up playing baseball, little league, high school, college. So the game of baseball, the sport, is something near and dear to me. So
and I think that's what you'd be if you didn't get into radio or none of the other stuff. Would be a baseball player.
Yeah,
I think
that's
so.
another one. That's
you
another
look like
one.
that too. You look like the perfect What position?
I played second base and outfield, left field. So, bro, if they drafted me right now, it'd be like I'd be.
You do it?
There. I'd be there. Yeah. Dodgers, if you're listening, Angels, if you need me, I will be
that's a
your-
good one. Now, what if they were like, we'll give you a spot on the Dodgers? Would you feel like you're betraying Philly?
No, because I would play baseball.
Yeah.
It's the game of baseball.
I hear you
I
on that.
would wear the Dodger uniform proudly.
I hear you on that.
It's one of those things. Like it's
and
the
you've
sport.
visited 15 stadiums so far.
Yeah, out of the 30, whatever, 32.
That's what I was going to ask.
Yeah.
How many are there?
There's like 30, 32, I think 30 teams.
Damn, you're
baseball.
halfway through, man.
Yeah, I started back in like early 2000s when I was like a kid. Like my dad took me to like Yankee Stadium.
I mean, there's so much to
Went
cover
to
here.
Fenway Park.
Your life is quite fascinating in the sense that you went from the East Coast to LA under the most surreal conditions of never living here, but really adapting quite fast. Would you agree that you did?
Let me tell you, when I say like my career, like bringing me here to LA, it's just like it's still like I have to pinch myself because there are people that work in radio that are nomads, or what do you call them, radio gypsies?
Yeah,
that go
that's
from
me.
market to
I'm just
market.
playing.
That's you. Market to market, little city to little city, trying to find their way and just trying to find a big break for them. And
Right. Some of them just like working in the
they
smaller
do.
markets.
Yeah, but I don't want to take my opportunities for granted. Like,
No, I hear you on that, man.
And it's funny because everyone has the same thing. Like people get burned out, and that was part of one of the things with the National Guard. Like I was like, maybe I'm burned out from radio. Maybe I need to take a break and just go. And so that's why I left KISS.
Now that's why I wanted to get into.
Yeah.
So let's really quickly. I want to jump. Okay, so
they'll do jumps.
You're in KISS. You're doing great. Before we get to the National Guard departure and then miraculous return, which really got me excited. To be honest, I didn't even really know you. I just knew of you through Tony. And he was like, "This guy's good. He's good. He's good." When he first came on, when you were on KISS, and you were doing like filler stuff, like you're doing filling at one point. I remember when I got here, you were kind of like back and forth. You weren't totally. Like,
I was doing some weird midday shift.
Yeah.
It was like 11 to 2, and then I was doing like 12 to 3.
See, I wasn't certain with what the shifts were and your history. I just knew you were dope. Like, I was like, this guy's like EJ. He just gets it. He does a 30, it's a 30. 15, it's a 15. It may be 16. That kind of shit gets I found great admiration for people who do their job accurately.
Thank you. I just wanted to, make a good impression and be like, hey, I'm in the big leagues, the big leagues now.
Big, huge, massive accountability leagues.
Yeah.
And there's no excuses. So
exactly.
So you get here, and then I was going to say, so in the middle of you being here, tell me about some of your most interesting interactions with celebrities, like artists, because obviously you came here and you weren't from LA, but you went to a few shows. Is there any one that stands out from the rest?
No, it's just funny because it's a lot of it is here because I still get starstruck when I'm like walking into people that are like huge celebrities in my office. I'm like, so my first week I was here, and I don't remember which day it was, but I was like walking through the office, going to see John Ivey in his office.
Right.
And, I run into someone here like, hey, I want to introduce to you. Here's Sam Smith. I'm like, oh, Sam Smith. I'm like,
what?
I know who Sam Smith is. I've seen you. Like, hey, Sam, how are you? It's Raph.
Hey.
Knowing that I interviewed him in Philly one time, and he's like, he probably does not remember.
Do you bring that up? Do you?
Nah, I don't bring it up because it's one of those things. Unless I've actually interviewed them a few times, like if it was Zed, I've interviewed Zed a few times, and I'm like, if Zed comes up, we're like, yo, bro, it's nice to see you.
So you know Zed a little bit.
Yeah,
you have a little bit of a relationship, right? A rapport, right?
Yeah.
Acquaintance,
yes. Acquaintance. So like that same day, it was like Sam Smith. I was like going to the bathroom, and I literally run into Chance the Rapper. Like
what?
I was like, I see the 3 in the hat, and I'm like this. Excuse me, I'm like, sorry, I need to go to the bathroom. Yeah. I'm like starstruck in the middle of, we're like, like that moment where you're like, you open the door and you're like staring at each other, but it feels like a lifetime. Yeah. It was only like 2 seconds.
But it's like dream world. It lasts for an eternity.
Whoa. Yeah. It's like,
fumfering.
Sorry, man. And then I move over and go to the bathroom.
Oh, man.
Like, that's Chance the Rapper.
And he's wearing his 3 hat. Yeah. It's just a total, that's him. And that's it. Do you meet him later? Do you go back and say, hey, what's up again?
I wonder, I'm like, where's he going? So
I know.
Like, you wander the studios. You're like walking through. I'm like, always with Big. I'm like, I'm not going to bother them. I'm not going to walk in.
Right. He might be sitting with Doc or Ivy. You never know. But still, out of all the interactions, what is the one that really was like, holy crap, you won't believe what just happened? Like, I saw so-and-so, even if it was a backstage, encounter type of thing.
In LA?
In LA. Or just in all of your radio career, which is the one interaction encounter that with a celebrity artist that really we're gonna be like,
it's memorable.
Yeah.
Like I feel like memorable was like the one time I was actually at an event in Atlantic City when I was doing Philly and Q102. So I was hosting I was hosting the event as like the DJ, and then Flo Rida was gonna perform later that night. So I'm like going in there, going on stage. Oh, give it up for Flo Rida. He comes up to me. He like fucking. Oh, sorry. Did I just swear?
No, you can. No, you can curse on this podcast.
I'm so used to I
was gonna ask you if you curse at all. That was going to be my next question.
Oh, yeah, actually. I do. Yeah. So I did.
Please curse as much as you want.
So he fucking slaps me up. He's like, yeah, thanks, bro, for introducing me. I'm like, this guy's so cool. He's so cool. So I like standing on the side there, watch his performance. He comes down, he's done. And then he's like, yo, come over here. He's like waving me over
to the VIP table.
Yeah. He's like, come in my table here. Like, we're going to do shots. We're going to hang out. He's like talking to me like a normal person. Like, yo, how's your family? Like, I have family up in Rochester too. His mom's up there. I'm like, bro, this guy's having a conversation with me, and like he is giving me his attention.
And this is at the height of Flo Rida's life.
Yeah, and all that stuff. And like in the middle of a club, music's blaring, lights are flashing.
Girls are just dancing.
Yeah, girls dancing. And he's like one-on-one
just having a real heart-to-heart.
Heart-to-heart. So I'm like, this is one of those moments where I'm like, man, I go through all these artists and interview them, and I never have like personal time with them. We're just talking, small talk.
Right.
This guy's like wants to know my life.
He's like
story.
interviewing you.
Yeah, and I'm like, this guy's really cool. So Flo Rida is definitely always a memorable.
Shout out to Flo Rida.
Flo, man.
I always felt it was a very creative flip on the name Florida.
Yeah.
Flo Rida. It's spelled the same way with just the hyphen in the middle.
And the R,
but
right,
it's just Florida. Flo Rida. I mean, how? And it's been there since the beginning of the country, practically.
He just comes up with it.
He's just put a dot in the middle, right?
Flo Rida.
What's good? This your boy Flo Rida.
Oh, man.
So, I mean, that's so memorable. I'm like, this guy's so cool,
Believe that.
That's great. That's great. I mean, my best... I'll just quickly reiterate because I said this on episode 1 of the podcast. Because when I was gathering, like, what should I talk about on the podcast? Before I was booking guests, I was just kind of just giving origins of myself.
Yeah.
But mine was meeting and working with Busta Rhymes.
Oh.
Yeah, in 1998. And I was 19 years old, just got hired at Power. And maybe about almost a year, maybe about 6 months ago, but we were doing bits in the morning.
Yeah.
And Fuzzy, who used to work with Big Boy's Neighborhood here at Power and here, and now hosts his own podcast with Quincy, FAQ podcast. Mm-hmm. But he was at Smoke and Groove's concert, and to paraphrase, he comes back the next day, and Fuzzy saying, yo, I just saw Busta Rhymes, and he said he loves the bits, the Lifestyles of the Rich and Racist bit that we're doing. And he was like, and I goes, oh, that's our, Fuzzy's like, that's our guy Sketch who produces them, and Jeff Schimmel who writes them.
Yeah.
And then the next day or two go by, and Busta shows up at the station, and he's standing there with his entourage, and I'm like, Mr. Rhymes, I'm Sketch. And he's like, yeah. And I called him Mr. Rhymes. Which is
Mr.
insane.
You're like so formal, but
I was like, I didn't know what else to say.
It's not even his legal name. You're like, just Mr. Rhymes.
Yeah, I was going to say, hello, Trevor Smith.
Yeah.
But I was like, yeah, I'm Sketch. I'm the guy who produced the bits that Fuzzy said, did you really? And he's like, yo, we got to go talk.
Oh, there
and
you
he
go.
takes us I take him into the studio or Big Boy's office, and we talk with Jeff Schimmel, and we end up producing the intro and the bits on the Extinction Level Event album.
No way.
Yeah, and there's young 19-year-old Sketch on there, and I'm one of the bits, but the intro was like the biggest part.
Can we hear a little bit of that?
Yeah. I'll
All
play a quick little clip right here. I've actually played this clip before, but I'll reiterate it for the people that are just joining the podcast who may have not heard episode 1.
I thought I told you 1,000 times, stop listening to that shit.
Oh, come on, Mom, that's Busta Rhymes. Don't talk back to your mother.
Gang members are the only ones that listen to that crap.
Just listen to one of Busta Rhymes' songs. Trust me, you'll like it. Just listen.
Okay, but this better be good, god damn it.
Listen.
Yes,
that's so cool,
right? Not bad.
I'm so proud of it. Like that's like an album that's always gonna live for. Like it's forever.
It's part of my history
it's
now.
Forever.
Yeah, and even DJ AO from Real 92.3, formerly of Real 92.3. No, he's still on Real 92.3. He's just doing a show for Miami, but he's also a program director over there. I mean, these guys are doing many hats. So are you.
Yeah, we're all busy.
But even he walked up to me and he was all, I saw him at El Taqueria in Studio City.
Okay.
Right off Moore Park in Tujunga. And I was just barely kind of just starting to know AO because it's like 2015, maybe 2016.
Okay.
The station had just started.
Right.
And I see him and he's all, hey, I go, hey, AO, what's up? And he's all, hey, what's up, Sketch? And he kind of looks at me, AO, and he studies me for a second. And then he looks at his girlfriend he's sitting with, and he goes, and he never takes his eyes off me. And he goes, baby, this is Sketch. Sketch works for Big Boy. Oh, wow. Doesn't take his eyes off me. Just completely honed in on me. And he goes, Sketch works for Big Boy. And did the intro for Busta Rhymes, Extinction Level. And I'm like, man, that's crazy that you know that about me. And I had no idea that. It just goes to show the vastness of how many people it can reach and stuff. Which
and
also
it impacts their lives too.
Yeah.
You know?
Speaking of impacting lives, you've obviously impacted a lot of lives by going into the National Guard. So let's now go into that part of the story with you, Raph. Is you're at KISS FM. You do how many years at KISS?
Yeah, it was about 2.
2 years.
Yeah.
Not too long, but just enough. And this is before COVID hit, right?
Yeah.
So you decided...
Actually, during COVID, yeah.
Was it right during COVID that you decided to go into National Guard?
During COVID, it was like 2021. Yeah.
And now what made you do that?
So, it was
that
just
decision.
one of those things. Well, I was actually backstory. Like I've been in the Guard part-time already. So I knew what I was getting myself into. Didn't have to go to basic training. That was all done like 10 years ago. But I think it was one of those things where like, you have kind of come to Jesus moment, a little re-eval of your life. And you're like, especially during COVID, a lot of people did.
Yeah.
They always talk about the great resignation and everybody leaving their jobs.
Yeah.
For me, it was just like a little burnout. I think it was just, man, I've just been, grinding. For
I hear you, man.
14 years.
It wasn't just the 2 years at KISS. You mean all the years.
5 years in Philly,
cumulated.
7 years in Rochester. So it was about 14 years. And it just, I was just like, man, what should I do next? What am I doing next? Is it enough? Is this worth it? Like, you have all these questions running through your head. So I'm just like, all right, maybe I should try something different. And I knew people out in the National Guard, and they were like, hey, we'll get you back in, and we'll put you in full time. And see
and
if you
how
like
does that
it.
work? Do you just call and like what do you
There's
do?
There's recruiters, and you take the recruiters. They know what the units you were at before. They contact them, and it's a whole process.
Is there ranking?
Yeah.
What are you ranked in the National Guard?
It's an E4, so specialist.
E40? No.
E40. Yeah, so like it's a junior enlisted. But then there's also like the sergeants and stuff, which I'm already on track to be one. I just didn't get promoted yet because obviously that takes some time, and I would have to leave here again.
Now, when COVID hit, you obviously transitioned from KISS to the National Guard, right?
Yep.
And then I was going to say Coast Guard. I'm sorry, because my neighbor's actually in the Coast Guard where I live. Yeah.
Semper Paratus.
Right now, you call the recruiter or you call your old office. They bring you back in. Do you leave LA?
Yeah, so I actually did leave LA.
Where did you
I went
relocate?
On military leave, and I went back to New York, back to my hometown. That's where a lot of that National Guard stuff took place.
And is it just a culture shock? What's like almost you're reintroducing yourself, readapting into this life you've lived once.
Yeah.
but now you had the taste of fame and some like fortune in radio and getting to Kiss, interviewing, getting at VIP flow rider tables, and now you're back in the National Guard.
Yeah.
And now you're just like, is there any moment you doubt yourself?
Yeah, you do doubt yourself. I think this is the right move. And like for me, it went from like, big city from Philly and LA to like back to small town, hometown Rochester. It was like definitely going from like 100 miles an hour to about like 45 miles an hour. And so it just definitely like slowed you down, and you kind of felt like it was a little bit slower paced, and you do get bored. But for me, it was a breath of fresh air for a second.
Yeah, it's like a break, and
Yeah.
you get to reevaluate, reflect.
Yeah.
And did you have to do anything? Like, because obviously when the pandemic was really hitting and things were kind of out of control, and you're in New York. What was it like? What was the temperature like out there? Not physically, like literally, was it cold?
Oh,
but I
it
mean,
was cold,
with
yeah.
everything going on, did you have to go out and do shit? Like, did you have to? What did you have to do?
Well, for as far as the National Guard stuff,
Yeah, like when you were there during COVID. Like,
Yeah.
did you ever get called out to have to go take vaccine? You know.
Oh, so it depends on who you were and like what job you had. Like I wasn't part of the medical team, so like they had medical people to take care of that. So we did a lot more of the helicopter. I was a helicopter repairer. So
Wow.
I am a helicopter repairer.
What?
Yeah. So I fix CH-47s, Boeings.
So
helicopters.
because of the mechanical engineering, right?
See, there he goes.
Oh my God! See, I pay attention.
I see. There you go. You do, and I'm fulfilling those little holes in my life where I'm like, okay, there's a 10% of me that still wants that. You know what I mean?
Raph, that's so amazing though that you recalled that skill that you previously learned that you kind of was laying dormant for years, over a decade.
A decade, yeah.
And then you get back in the National Guard and you get into helicopter repair. Because
I love aviation.
Yeah, you can't fly helicopters though,
No,
right?
I'm
Would
not
you ever
trained.
want to?
Helicopters, sure, but I'm not into it. I'm more into fixed wing. Boeing aircraft.
That's still amazing though.
So-
I mean, okay, so now you're
It's a lot.
I mean, it's do you get paid well in National Guard?
It's all based off rank, so it depends.
So
Yeah.
E4. What is
E4. It's E4 pay. It's
Right,
E4 pay. We'll just leave it at that.
No, I hear you. I didn't need an exact number. I'm just more of like, can you live off that?
Oh yeah, you can
Okay.
live off that. You can live off sergeant's pay.
And there's perks that
things
come with it, right?
Yeah, you get VA home loans. You
Wow.
get the school repayment stuff. So there are benefits to joining. There's bonuses if you sign up. There's like $20,000 signing bonuses, things like that. So
Which is better though, radio life or National Guard life?
I mean, there's pros and
The
cons.
pros and
to
cons.
both.
Pros and cons.
Yeah, pros and
cons.
cons. But radio's fun.
Right.
It's
is.
very freeing, but it's also you get into bad spots. Like if you're in a bad company or a bad market, you definitely don't have the same
Or the
experience.
station takes a hit for some crazy shit
Yeah.
that someone might have done, like a jock or something.
Experience here might not be the same as an experience in Boise, Idaho. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So-
Now let's venture back from National Guard Raph and mechanical engineering Raph, fixing helicopters, Boeing, and all this. I like to know that if some shit goes down in LA, I'm coming straight to Raph. I know I'm going straight to if the zombies start attacking. I know where to go, who to call. Raph
I'll try to fix it.
Yeah. Well, at least you'll know how to fix the helicopter.
Yeah, there we go.
right?
To make the escape, yes.
So now we're back in LA. Now, what brings you back to LA? Because when I got the news that you would return, and this is right before you became, which I want to talk about as well, the APD and what is it, Afternoon Drive on My FM, right?
Afternoon Drive,
so,
APD.
So, but you returned to KISS originally, right? Or did you come
I
right
went
back
to My FM.
Ah, okay,
so,
okay.
really, it was just like an opportunity that came through. Like I was like, hey. Maybe I should do maybe I should get back to radio but I want to do it my way and not be like, I wouldn't say a slave to the business. I want to like be able to carve my own path to grow the way I want to grow.
Right.
So I was like, I want to do more programming. I don't want to just be on air because I was doing like out of market stuff for like 15 different stations, 20 different stations, and you get burned out. I was just like,
the voice tracking.
I'm doing the same thing for 10 different markets, and it's like I want to do other things.
I experienced what EJ did. I sat in with him, like him voice tracking.
Yeah,
all the
exactly what
stations.
EJ was doing.
It's crazy, man.
Yeah, me and him, we were on the same wavelength. But what brought me back was like, hey, I want to grow. I want to do management things. I want to do programming. I want to actually learn
the architecture,
the foundations of radio. And I told that to the people here, and they brought me. They're like, hey, we have an opportunity coming. Like, hey, you want it?
Did you tell it to Jeffries? Was he still in charge?
No, it was John Peake already. Jeffries left when I was still here.
I wanted to do my Jeffries impression. All right, mate. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
He's like, let's do a walkabout sketch and show you your office. All right.
That's a good one.
Yeah, and he did it. He did it for me. And I asked him, I was like, Andrew, I was like, can you do an American accent? He's like, man, I don't know. It's like a garage. He's all, you Americans, the way you say garage. And he did it really well. And I was all, that's good. Keep going. He's all, no, that's it.
It's like, Spider-Man, like Tom Holland. Like, totally he's British. But
my God.
He speaks really good English.
He's fantastic. I love the British, full-on British guys that come over and they do American. And you don't know they're British until you see, like, what's his name? Desmond, the guy from Snowfall. Forget his name. Idris Desmond or something.
Okay. Yeah.
British guy. I mean, he plays Frank on Snowfall. I thought he was totally American. He's a black gentleman, which makes it even more sexier and seductive because you're like, whoa. And then he was on Big Show and he's like, hey, when I got the role, I got to, and I was like, holy shit, dude.
Yeah, he's British.
Yeah, I mean,
it's impressive.
Do you think?
We can't do it, right? We can't be British.
You can't do. Give me your British accent.
Oh man, now you put me on the spot.
Let's I'm gonna play some British music behind it.
Get my fish and chips here.
You get some fish and chips, man.
Her Majesty the Queen.
The Majesty.
Speak
on the Queen's passing.
God save the Queen. Fish and chips
save
here.
the Queen, mate.
Bloody hell! Why did she have to croak?
Beatles.
Oh yeah, the Beatles.
Yeah.
Ringo. Let's see who else we got here. Paul McCartney.
What about like
John Lennon.
Some of the British actors like Michael Gambon. Michael Gambon is one of the.
I love 007. 007 is my favorite movie series. We do Daniel Craig.
Daniel Craig. Blue Eyes. You like Blue Eyes 007?
Yes, and Scottish Sean Connery.
Do you think that the radio would still be the same if we spoke in a British accent? Do you think your show would be the same?
I don't know, but you know what? They have Capital FM there, and they talk about Britney Spears and how she's just got mad and crazy.
Wow. Do they have American DJs in London, in Britain?
I'm sure they do. They call them presenters. They're not DJs.
What?
They're presenters. Yeah, because I know a lot of British like production companies that they like.
Is there iHeart in Britain?
I don't think there's iHeart there. No, there's iHeart in Australia. So like, there's a show called Kyle and Jackie O, their morning show. They're on Kiss 106.5.
What about
there.
New Zealand, where Jeffries is?
Oh
from?
Yeah, they have iHeartMedia there. He probably brought iHeartMedia to them.
Yeah,
it's country.
You gotta have this, mate.
It's like, hey,
you gotta have it here.
Yeah,
put it in your garage.
Listen everywhere on your app.
Wow. Okay, so now you come back. I got to go back to this. So you come back to LA. Now you're offered the APD afternoon drive from being back in National Guard. Now, it's like, talk about the extreme polar opposites of careers.
Oh,
right?
Yeah, totally.
And not just once, but twice, but 3, and now 4. Like it's almost like a boomerang.
Yeah. No,
right?
I do a little boomerang in my career.
Yeah.
I mean, it's fine. You find what you like and you don't like, and it's like people say, like, why do you keep changing it? It's like, hey, you're not gonna know. You're never gonna know until you try.
Well, it's not even if you didn't like it, but it's interesting I find it fascinating to know, like, you were able to do that and do it well. Because a lot of people can't do that. The majority of people, it's hard for them to change careers like that. And for you, it seemed like just like you just kind of, change, you turn the car in the other direction.
It's funny because when I, for my jobs and what I do, when I get things done, I always look at expectations, and I just kind of like, you not conform, but like there's expectations set and you just meet them. And I just feel like you just do it.
You think that's your National Guard training?
I think it is.
It is,
you just
the discipline.
You train to standard, not to time. So just get to the standard and do the standard, and no one's going to have a problem with you,
Man, that's really well said, man. I like it. I like how you're able to apply the training and everything, all the elements of your life, including your parents, all kind of play into your career path and how it came to be here. So once you get back to LA and your APD, who's the program director of My FM?
John Peake.
He is? I didn't know that.
Yeah, John
He's
Peake.
My VP. I just had to email him the other day. I had a rant about some frustration, and he always told me, he goes, Sketch, if you have a problem, just email me.
So you do.
And I'm like, are you sure? Because I'm going to be emailing you a lot. He was like, I want to know what's going on in your daily life. Feel free to email me anytime. I'm like, okay, I'm emailing him paragraph emails.
Oh,
like some of it's a little frustrating.
Grievances.
Yeah, just a little bit, but it's only between me and him, and most likely it's never going to get out because I'm not trying to get people in trouble. It's just in commercial production, in radio,
you have to manage it.
It's like I'm a nanny. I'm a nanny. I should have gotten into if you were to ask me,
Handmaid's Tale.
Yeah,
Sketch.
Is there a new season of that? By the way,
probably.
Did you see that on the ad for that?
To be honest, I don't watch it. What's the ad?
I saw it on TikTok today. I got on TikTok. They show one ad before the app fully launches, and it's all Handmaid's Tale, new season. And I'm like, I just finished I thought it was over with.
Yeah, there's another season.
I think there's it's fantastic.
I gotta watch it.
It's really
Add that to my
Elizabeth Moss gets the shit beat out of her and then comes back with a vengeance.
That's crazy.
It's great. You got to see it. It's really good.
Do you watch Cobra Kai?
I have seen Cobra Kai. I
Have you
love
seen the
Cobra
news-
Kai.
have you seen
I
the
haven't
new
gotten
season?
to the newest season.
Best season ever.
Really?
Best
Is it
season
over
ever.
yet? No, it's still happening.
Season 5 just happened. They
It's
just
over.
dropped it. It's not over.
Oh, okay.
They dropped
But
the whole season.
The whole thing is out. They do that. They launch it by the bulk. They don't give you one per
No, they don't do
week.
like the
Right.
Disney thing. But
Right.
let me tell you, like the writing, the character arcs, it's the best season ever.
It is. Why is that? Why? What attracts you to Cobra Kai? Were you a Karate Kid fan?
I love Karate
Right?
Kid. Yes, and then like just to see like the character
Raph Macchio?
Yeah, Raph. It's not Ralph Macchio. It's
Raph Macchio. And then I play a little. Yeah.
Perfect. So yeah, I just loved the whole Karate Kid thing.
Yeah.
And Cobra Kai, it just was so like it's the discipline thing. I think it's the whole discipline, learning something new, and just being able to
Wax on,
apply
wax
that
off.
and apply that to your life. It's not just the karate.
I was a big fan too. My sister
Yeah.
got me into it, and I saw part 1, 2, and 3. I don't really remember part 3 as much as I remember the
starts
first
getting a little
two. Yeah.
weird, like
but the
now,
fact
yeah.
that they were able to reboot that with those same actors
and a new audience,
and it
too.
comes back, I think, even stronger. It's very hit and miss with those 80s actors.
Yeah, some of them are like, oh, why are you bringing them back?
Jason Bateman was one of the few with Ozark and all the other
Ozark's
stuff he's
great,
done,
too.
but like, I don't know. I'm a big fan of it. I have to get into that. But I do want to talk a little bit more. I know I'm going to have to wrap up with you because I've kept you here for like 20 hours.
Is it 15 hours already? Holy crap.
The sun is, I think your shift's starting.
Yeah, I got to go soon. It's my shift.
But I mean, I could talk radio shop with you all day.
All day.
It's so
It's fun.
interesting to get to know you, Raph, as a coworker.
Thank you.
I know that we've conversed on DMs before about going to grab a bite to eat.
We have to.
I would
We
love to
still
go
have to.
grab a burger or something down the street. I don't have a car anymore, so you have to drive one
I'll
of your
drive
dope
you.
Jeeps.
Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah. And then you could just drop me off, Or I could walk
You
home.
want me to take the doors off and the top down?
Yeah.
We'll do that sometime.
Go out to Vasco's Rocks. You know Vasco's Rocks?
No.
Have you ever been out there?
No,
They
I've
used
never
to
been
film
there.
like Star Trek and stuff. It's very well known. It's going up towards like the desert.
I was going to suggest a 6th Street Bridge and just do donuts or something.
I've never been to this. I want to go.
Everyone talks about it.
I want to go get my hair cut on the 6th Street Bridge.
Okay, I see those things on TikTok. I actually drove over it the other day. I was going to a concert at the Novo in downtown, and it's so beautiful driving into the city and seeing the skyline.
I saw your post.
Yeah, dude, I just want to say, like the people that are messing it up, like, why? Like, let's not ruin it.
That's LA.
But it's so beautiful. Like, there's so many great things about LA that I appreciate and adore as well, even though I'm not a born and raised here. But it's just like, why?
I think you're an Angelino now, though.
Angelino?
Yeah,
I
because
appreciate
it takes
Thank
5 years. Usually 5 years is the mark. But I think for you,
I'm at 3.
You
so
catapulted to the front, I think, of that line. Because not only because of you being at KISS, but because of how fast you can adapt. And I think you get a pass as well because you're military.
Oh.
I think military, no matter what, they get a pass.
I get a military discount.
Always, no matter what. Because it's like, dude, you're putting your neck on the line, and I'm not doing shit but complaining.
Yeah, I gotta go to Stockton for that. I got a drill still. I still do 1 weekend a month.
Really?
Yeah.
Are you a drill sergeant?
No. Drill weekends.
You look like you could be a drill sergeant.
Oh man,
too,
dude, don't
it's
even
the mustache.
don't even get me started with that because I'll totally tell some people straight out.
You could be like that for Halloween. You could be Drill Sergeant Raph with the glasses and the
Ralph
hat.
Macchio. Drill Sergeant Ralph Macchio.
Yeah, man. But okay, can we quickly sum up? Can we review just the APD position, which I would like to formally say congratulations on. I'm so happy that you have that position and that I can call on you if I need something.
It's something voiced. I'll do it for you.
Well, I mean, you're here on my podcast, which was insane.
I voiced for 20 hours.
I mean, we're setting a Guinness Book of World Records for the longest podcast. I mean, this Joe Rogan goes pretty long.
It's like extra innings in Dodger games. So
that's free baseball.
Free baseball.
Yes.
I love it.
All right, so Raph, can you really quickly sum up anything that you'd like to tell the person listening to this podcast right now about who may want to get into radio or DJing or even mechanical engineering or National Guard? I mean, you wear so many hats.
Well, it's simple. Like, don't tell anyone that you can't do anything. Like if someone tells you you can't do anything, don't listen to them.
Yeah, especially Filipino.
Yeah, especially if you're Filipino. You can do whatever you want. You don't have to be just a nurse or a doctor,
right?
But seriously though, man, you just work hard. You know the right people. It's not just who you know, but like it's also the hard work. You got to put the work in.
Yeah.
And when you pay your dues, you're always paying the dues. Rent's always due.
Don't get complacent.
Don't get complacent. complacent because you start getting complacent. You think you're the shit.
Right.
Then, you're going to start to slip, and people can see that.
And
They
see that a lot
right
in radio.
through you.
A lot in radio. Not just here, everywhere.
You
radio.
think you work in radio for 17 years and you're doing one thing. It's like, oh, you can't be doing one thing, bro.
There's always room for improvement.
Right. There's always room for improvement. And you always want to grow anyway. So like if you're doing something for 17 years and you want to grow, you Sketch probably want to do other things too. Like
I'm doing this podcast.
Exactly. Yeah. This is something it's a
creative outlet.
Yeah, and it's outside your realm of what you were normally doing.
Exactly.
For your 9
you have to
to 5.
put yourself into an uncomfortable position to kind of learn more about yourself, which you've done, man.
Oh,
You've
man.
definitely done that.
Multiple times.
So hats off to you, Raph.
Sometimes I wonder, like, why the hell? Why did I do that? I'm like, I couldn't do that now if I tried again.
Last question.
Yeah.
Are there any regrets that you have in any of your choices that you've made? Because it seems like you've made the pretty right choices. And you seem like a very content, happy person. Did you have any relationship regrets? Were you in a relationship when you moved out here? Did you have to juggle that?
You know, I've been lucky to not have a relationship when I had to make these decisions. It was very easy for me because it's like, all right, I can just do this. If it doesn't go right, I can just find the next thing.
There's nothing to lose,
nothing
really,
to lose,
or
really.
hurt anybody's feelings to get
exactly.
hurt. Right?
And I'm a family guy. Like I love my parents and my niece and nephew. I want to see them, and that's part of the reason why I wanted to be back in the East Coast because they're all there. But I'm like, well, if I could make the money, if I could do what I want to do here, and be able to go fly back and visit, like that's fine with me too. Like I can bring them out here. Like if I can afford that, for my family to come out here and visit me, like then it's the same thing as just being there. So
especially now, distance measured in time, not miles.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, it takes 5 hours to get from here to New York, typically, depending on which the draft is blowing.
Where the jet streams are
jet
going.
streams. Is that what it's called?
Yeah, jet streams.
I haven't been on a plane.
You're going to be a pilot.
Yeah,
right?
not anymore. I failed.
It's never too late, man. Never too late.
Oh, well, Raph, I want to say thank you so much for doing the podcast with me and our first formal introduction, sit down. I still want to grab that lunch with you. Maybe go grab Don Cuco's or something.
I'm hungry now if you want to go somewhere.
I'm famished right now. But thank you so much again. And episode 8, Raph, the man of many hats. I appreciate you right here on the Sketch-O-Matic Show, episode 8.
Sketch, thank you.
Peace. Oh, good for you. And how was it?
The Sketch-O-Matic Show.
Too much information and shit, man.
Shut your mouth, essay.
Okay, bye.